When you think about the American diet, what pops into your head? A big juicy burger? A kale salad? Well, the truth is, it's a battlefield. And today, we're going to decode that conflict, from the actual food on our plates to the competing ideas in our heads.
3,600. Just let that number sink in for a second. What is it? It's the average number of calories an American eats every single day. Now, to put that into perspective, that's way higher, like 40 to 50% higher than what most health experts recommend. This single number, it's pretty much the opening shot in the war for our health.
And that number, it really forces us to ask a pretty fundamental question. With every meal, every snack, every single choice we make, are we fueling our bodies for health, or are we accidentally fueling disease? That choice is right at the very heart of the American diet.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to start on the front lines. We're talking about the daily conflict between two incredibly powerful forces. This is the processed food battle.
So you've got these two clear sides, right? On one side, you have fast food and all those processed goods. And their main weapon? Unbeatable convenience, especially when we're all so busy. But they're also packed with calories. Then, on the other side, you have whole foods. They're dense with nutrients and minimally processed, but they ask more of us, More time, more prep. This is the fundamental tug-of-war for most of us. Convenience versus nutrition.
But the conflict doesn't just stop with the food itself. Oh no, it gets bigger, it escalates into a full-blown war of ideas, a battle over the rules we should follow for eating. This is where we get into decoding modern diets.
Exactly. The fight has gone way beyond a simple choice like, should I have an apple or a candy bar? Today's food wars are dominated by these huge dietary philosophies, and each one has its own super strict rules, its own devoted followers, and each one claims to be the one true way to eat.
So let's look at the battle lines for three of the big ones. The keto diet basically declares war on carbs and sugar, making fat its main fuel. Veganism, well, it takes a stand against all animal products, period. And then you have the Mediterranean diet, which is all about whole foods and healthy fats, while pushing back against processed stuff and red meat. You can see how totally different they are, right? What one diet forbids, another one might actually encourage. They're just completely different game plans for getting healthy.
So far, we've been talking a lot about personal choice. But for millions of Americans, this whole battle is decided before they even walk into a store. For them, the food war is all about something much more basic: geography. It's the conflict between access and scarcity.
And yeah, there's actually a name for this reality. It's called a food desert. Basically, it's a neighborhood where finding affordable, healthy, nutritious food is a massive challenge. Instead of grocery stores full of fresh produce, the only options are often just convenience stores and fast food chains. I mean, just think about what this really means. If you live in a food desert, that battle between whole foods and processed foods, it's kind of over before it even begins. When your only options are calorie-dense and highly processed, your circumstances are deciding your diet way more than your personal choices ever could. So, with all these different battles raging, on our plates, in our minds, in our neighborhoods, is there any way to call a truce? Is there a path forward that moves us beyond all this conflict? Well, a growing movement says yes, and it starts by shifting our focus to eating for the future.
The proposed peace treaty, if you will, is this idea called sustainable eating, and it completely reframes the goal. It doesn't just ask, what's good for me? It also asks, what's good for the planet? It's all about connecting our personal health by eating whole foods with the planet's health by focusing on local and seasonal stuff.
And this is a really big shift in how we think about it. It's about giving up the search for that one perfect diet that's supposed to work for everyone. The goal isn't to prove one side is right anymore, but to find a flexible approach that can actually nourish our bodies and our planet for a long, long time.
So, that leaves us with one final thought. We've looked at the battles over calories, competing ideologies, and even simple access to food. But in the middle of all these complicated food wars, what if the winning move isn't about picking a side at all? What if it's just about making a more conscious choice whenever and however you can?